into the world of social media coaching. And then in 2014, for some of you who have heard me speak before, you know my story, and those of you who don't know me, you do not know that in 2014, on April 1st, which, you know, the ultimate April Fool's joke is to end up being the cream in the Oreo between a teenage texting driver and road rage. So imagine going down 65, 70 miles an hour, come to a complete stop, and someone hit you from behind who did not happen to notice what they were doing because they were texting. So my life changed. And the great thing was is that prior to that, I had become very clear on life purpose. And it was life purpose that kept me alive while my special Cadillac helicopter landed on the freeway and waiting for the jaws of life to take me out of the car. There were people screaming, "Stay away from the light," and I saw the light, and it was quite all right. And I was at total peace. But I knew that it was not my day to leave because I had not lived my purpose. So it changed from me being a social media coach on March 31st, 2014, to on April 1st, knowing as I lay in an emergency room, not knowing if I would ever walk again, that I was committed to transformation of lives. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is that journey, and for you guys to walk out of here, hopefully to look at your social media a little different, because if you follow me, I know like Laurie's been friends with me. There was one day about 6 months ago where I said I quit social media coaching. It was very hard to make that post on Facebook because I was like, oh gosh, now nobody's going to call me and ask me to do social media coaching. It's just good money. It's low-hanging fruit. Who here has a business where there's some product in it that is like your easy go-to? You're like, I know I can sell that. I realized I just left my phone on, so just in case. So we have things that happen to be our low-hanging fruit in life, and then sometimes we will gravitate towards that easy thing for our business. So I'm going to talk to you today about how your story, as you saw, I just presented a story to you. Now, I could have gotten up here and told you a very different story in a very different way. I could have come to you and spoken a story from a place of being a victim of my circumstances. I could tell you that I can't run after my children because of the 40 plates and pins, and I could sit here and tell you how I wake up every day in pain, and I could do all that, right? I could post all that on Facebook every day. And I would have audiences of people following me, engaged in my victim story. So for each and every one of you, your social media, who here uses Facebook but you go, oh, but I don't use it I don't tell any of my personal stuff on here. And who feels like there's a business, who still has somewhere in there, I have to keep my business and my personal separate. Right, we've been taught that, right? Here's the thing. The most powerful, wealthy, and successful people that you know integrate their personal, their professional, and their faith life. That happens to be one that many people go, oh no, I can't talk about religion or politics, or, well, I'm going to unfriend that person if they happen to mention that blah, 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 right? We see all this. Rather than getting into these posts, do you ever see these posts where people say, if you don't like that I this or that, hit unfriend now. Okay, that is reflecting a subconscious belief that there is something wrong with what it is that you stand for. So when you're using social media, here are 3 key things that I want you to remember. Number 1, your subconscious runs 95% of your operating system in your little brain. So when you read the post, before you press send or post, think about if your subconscious is actually speaking to you through your social media, saying, hey, I have this big wound and this big unhealed belief that no one likes me for my point of view. Because when you say something like, go unfriendly if you don't like me, it's saying, I'm not sure if I trust myself in my own belief. You need to start to look at your social media as this wall that can be used for incredible amplification of a message. And if the message that you're sending is I don't trust myself, I don't trust others, I don't respect me, your business will show the results. Conversely, if you are empowered, confident, and you can take any situation that comes before you and take the lesson out of it. So start asking yourself this question. This is the second point. What is the lesson I can share instead of the drama?
Right.
And that is huge. What will happen is your engagement. People talk about, how do I get more engagement on social media? Show your vulnerability and your transparency without showing your drama. And that means just before you write it, say, okay, and if you pray, really go, okay, God, what message can I give to the person who needs this message today when I make this post? And you can still share the story. Like I've had ones where my kids fell on their head and I had to rush to the ER and whatever else. And I'll tie in an analogy about what does it mean when life knocks you over the head, right? I still got the update, right? I still said this is what happened. But instead people will write me and they will say, wow, that message was exactly the message that I needed today. And typically, and if you're friends with me on Facebook, you see this, I get 30 to 50 engagements on every single post that I do. Not because I'm manipulating the system, not because my friends have nothing better to do. It's because I continuously move and inspire, which brings me to the third point. Your inspiration is what people will remember you for. Your ability to pay attention to the world around you. It could be a flower. You don't have to write a big, long, flowery post. You could just say, this is a beautiful flower. When people can begin to see what enchants you and inspires you at a soul level, they'll start paying attention to you. And when you go sit down for them with coffee, instead of what do you do, they're like, oh, I saw that you posted. That's so cool. Well, how did you get that? Well, I happen to collect blah, blah, blah. And what you'll end up doing is taking social media from this like arduous, because this is typically like most people are like, well, I got to post 3 to 5 times a day, and that social media coach told me that I had to do this, 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 and this in order to get likes. What you need to do to get likes is start to use your soul as the guide to the messages that you share with the world. Because regardless of what your relationship is with Spirit, my belief is that Spirit can use you as part of the ability to touch and inspire the planet. When you have that ability to touch, move, and inspire through your story, and you reframe your story, it's not that your life is any better or any different than anyone else's, but when you are able to do that, you become as inspiring as Joel Osteen or Oprah or any of those people. And you will end up with a movement of people who are in your soul family, people that you are called to serve, people you are called to do business with, people who will invest in you. They won't even consider a sales conversation with somebody else. They just know, I'm going to invest in that person. And they want to, because not only are they investing money as an exchange of service, they're investing inspiration in the form of money. So that is my message for you today. Hopefully that's a